Meanwhile, back at the ranch is an old phrase from silent movies in the early 1900s that's still in use today. The phrase was one of several scene change captions that were used in silent movies to help the audience understand an upcoming change of location. This one came to be used in conversation for a change of direction, especially if it was getting awkward or uncomfortable. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, let's talk about Rehoboam and the southern kingdom of Judah. Not that these posts are getting awkward or uncomfortable, but that we've been following the developments in the northern kingdom of Israel under Jeroboam for some time and can't forget about Judah. Studying the kings is complicated by the overlapping of both kingdoms, Judah and Israel, for over 200 years. From 1 Kings 12 to 2 Kings 17, the narrative jumps back and forth between the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, which also includes jumping back and forth in time. Like trying to watch a time travel movie, it can get a little confusing. One way to help keep them separated would be to write in "meanwhile back at the ranch" every time there's a transition. Rehoboam is the second in what will become a long line of disappointing kings in the line of David. Solomon started strong but faded at the end. Rehoboam started with a mistake that encouraged the rebellion and just got worse from there. 5 years into his reign, 3 years after the rebellion, we're told, Judah did evil in the sight of the Lord, and they provoked him to jealousy more than all that their fathers had done with the sins which they committed. 1 Kings 14, verse 22. Because they had turned away from him, 5 years into Rehoboam's reign, God allowed Egypt, an ally during the days of Solomon, to sweep through the land and strip Jerusalem of all the gold accumulated by Solomon. 1 Kings 14, verses 25 through 28. But God was gracious enough to send a prophet to warn Rehoboam to stop resisting. Otherwise, Egypt would have destroyed Jerusalem and killed the king. A humbled man, the king submitted to the judgment, but despite losing most of his people just 2 years after becoming king, and then nearly all his wealth 3 years later, he never truly sought God. 2 Chronicles 12, verses 6 through 14. Does that describe us? Externally humble, but internally unconcerned about God? As the Thanksgiving holiday approaches here in America, we're given an opportunity to remember God and thank Him for His blessings. Let's make this year more than a ritual observance and truly thank God by honoring Him with our lives and not just our lips. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I will be away visiting family for the next few days. Thank you for watching Morning Minutes in the Bible. Until next week, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day and a great Thanksgiving.